Hey guys! If you're watching this video, I assume that means that you watched my previous video in this playlist, and if you haven't, what are you doing? Click right here, go watch it, come back, I promise we'll still be. Now I know long talking intros can be very annoying, that's why I put timestamps down below for each individual bug. Feel free to skip forward to whatever part of this video pertains to you, I promise you won't hurt my feelings. If you did decide to watch this part of the video, lucky for you. This is where I tell you about the infographic that I'm After making the first video, I realized that some people might actually prefer to have all of the information in a stationary place where they could see it all at the same time. And if that's you, go down in the description, click the link, download it for free. Hopefully we can cover all bases and help anybody watching this video. I also went back and did the same thing for the first video, so go back, check that one out, go to the description, it's the same process. I have the infographic for that video as well. With that all said, let's get into the video. I'll catch you on the next one. The first mob on this list, and probably one of the first mobs you'll encounter in any new playthrough, is the red worker ant. They can be found in anthills, the two most notable being between the baseball at spawn and the haze, and at the oak tree. They can also be found roaming in the central grasslands, the flower bed, and the oak hill. If instigated, red ants will dish out chopping damage. They are weak to spicy and stabbing damage, and they have no resistances. Their weak points are their eyes. So not that they will, but if they do give you any trouble, just aim your bow at their eyes and it'll take care of the rest. Upon killing a red worker ant, you will obtain red ant parts and a red ant head. Bonus loot can be acquired by going into the red anthill and gathering some eggs. If they've already hatched, simply channel your inner ant bully and thin out the population. They should start to respawn as ant eggs. Be careful when transporting though, as they do have a countdown time. If they reach the end of that timer, they will hatch. I don't know if there's an achievement called Ants in Your Pants, but there really should be. The most important thing you will make from red ants is the red ant club. This is a very good early game weapon and frankly could be upgraded and used throughout your entire playthrough. You can also create all of the red ant armor, which gives a boost to carrying capacity when building, the workers comp smoothie, ant head totems if you're into that, the repair tool, weirdly enough the black ant shield, the grinder, no, not that one, the spinning wheel, a lot of beginner furniture, and the Brot Burst. Another early game bug we will encounter is the Ladybug. It can be found wandering in the central grasslands, the flower bed, and around the oak hill. Ladybugs dish out chopping damage as well as generic damage when they do their booty bump attack. They have weaknesses to fresh, busting, and generic damage, which makes the mint mace or the club of the mother demon great choices. They also have resistance to salty, spicy, and stabbing damage, but their weak points are their legs. Killing ladybugs will always give you ladybug parts, and sometimes will give you ladybug heads. The insect axe is by far the most important craft you will make from ladybugs. You can also create a great tank set with the ladybug armor, the waft emitter, repair glue, sturdy plating, and the broodmother BLT. Probably the most irrelevant mob in the game is the Firefly. These can be found in the flood zone at night and in the flower bed at night. Fireflies are always found in a group, so it's a good idea to separate them. They dish out generic range damage, they have a weakness to stabbing, a resistance to spicy and generic damage, and no weak points. So really a bow and any arrow type other than spicy and just aim for the body. Killing fireflies will reward you with glow goo and iridescent scales. The only thing you can make from fireflies are the firefly headlamp and the firefly hanging lantern. These can be found flying anywhere around the map pollinating dandelions, but they will always be found at the picnic table. No surprise, but bee stings do stabbing damage. They also do generic damage with their pollen puff attack. Bees have a weakness to fresh, slashing, and chopping damage, a resistance to busting and generic damage, and their weak points are their eyes. So the best course of action is to take a bow and shoot them in the eyes, which should drop them down to the ground where you can finish them off. Bees will give you bee fuzz and a bee stinger. You can also get pollen left behind by pollinating bees around the map, or from their legs when they do their pollen puff attack. From gathering materials from bees, you can create stinger spear, all bee armor, all black ant armor, antlion spurs, mac and bees, zipline wall anchors, and shinobi sneeze. Now that you've upgraded your gear a little bit, you're ready to take on black worker ants. They can be found at the black anthill, the picnic table, the sandbox, the shed surroundings, the trash heap, the undershed, and the western grasslands. Black worker ants are actually the exact same as red worker ants, except they do have a resistance to fresh, so just keep this in mind. Black worker ants will give you black ant parts, black ant heads, and with the same stipulations as red worker ants, the black ant egg. Using the materials from killing black worker ants, you can create the black ant shovel, the black ant sword, the black ant shield, all black ant armor, which is a pretty decent tank set, which gives you crit after blocking, the fresh storage, and the omeland. Now we're starting to talk about some of the more difficult bugs to take down. One of the very first things you will see when you enter the upper yard is a Roly Poly. They can be found wandering in the northern grasslands, the shed surroundings, and in the undershed. Roly Polies will dish out generic damage when they do their little scoot and caboot attack, and then smashing damage when they do all their other attacks. They have a weakness to fresh, salty, spicy, and busting, and a resistance to chopping, slashing, and stabbing. Their weak points are their legs. Once again, the mint mace is a great option here, but a lot of the times you can actually cheese these guys with a bow, so there's really no reason to put yourself in harm's way unless you have an ego. Roly Polies will give you Roly Poly parts, Roly Poly shells, and the most important, tough gunk. Roly Polies really are the gateway to a lot of tier 3 crafts. You can make repair glue, all Roly Poly armor, which is by far the best tank armor in the game, all tier 3 melee weapons, all magical staves, the termite axe, the Everchar torch, Sarah's charm, the black ox burger, termite delight, the orc distribution bomb, and the waft emitter. The next bug on our list probably could have been lumped in with the last one, but there are some minute differences, so I wanted to talk about the sticky Roly Poly. The sticky Roly Poly is the weaker little brother of the Roly Poly. It has less HP and a few differences to combat. For starters, it has a weakness to spicy, busting, and generic damage, a resistance to fresh, salty, chopping, slashing, and stabbing, and it is found in the western grasslands. Those are the only differences, but I felt the need to tell you that. Probably the last bug on this list you will encounter is the Moth. The Moth only has 5 total spawn locations, all of which are located in the upper grasslands. There's one on top of the garden lamp, one on top of the wheelbarrow, one on the tip of the fallen part of the stump, one on top of the stump, and one on top of the Castle Moldork playset. The Moth is by far the hardest fight on this list, but it can only be found in a lot of in-game areas anyway, so it seems proportionate. All of the damage that it does is generic damage. It has a charge attack and then a little dust attack that will slow you down. It has a weakness to fresh, sour, and spicy damage, and it has a resistance to salty, busting, generic, and slashing damage. It also has no weak points and it's immune to dust. My personal recommendation is to bring a bow and any of the candy arrows. Also bring a shield. If you can perfect block, that would be great, but the main thing is you don't want to get knocked off the high ground when it does its little charge attack. And definitely bring some healing because this thing will chunk you down very easily. If you do manage to kill a Moth, you will get Moth Fuzz and Moth Scale. The only thing you can make with this is the Moth Armor set, which is the best armor set for bow users. You will gain increased movement speed, refunded stamina, and the ability to deal bleed damage, all while using a bow. If you made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you. It means a lot to me. I put a lot of work into this, and it's absolutely worth it because seeing the final product, hopefully helping you, it makes me feel amazing. As you can see, I'm still pretty new, so if you did enjoy it or if it was helpful, consider liking and subscribing. Let me know that I'm on the right track. Maybe comment down below if there are things you liked, things I did right, things that you would like to see in future videos. But thank you for watching my guide video, and hopefully the next one will be even better. Peace out.